Hi, Matt. Welcome to Only5mins.
Thank you so much for your time.
Matt, why does the solar industry need to slim down on silver?
Presently, silver consumption into solar PV in 2022 is in the range of about 145 to 150 million troy ounces against a backdrop of 1.2 billion total demand. So it's about 12.5% of silver goes into solar PV alone. And the trajectory that we're on, the growth in the solar PV capacities and builds each year are expected to climb in the range of about 11 to 13% growth rate annually. And this against the backdrop where the design thrifting is only 7 to 9% down a year. So you're offsetting that a bit with the design thrifting, but not completely. And as a result, the composite amount, the total amount of silver demand is expected to continue to climb.
And do you think that the PV industry is prepared to move away from silver or to reduce silver consumption?
I think the silver industry as a whole has done a fantastic job with design thrifting. If you look back at the past 2 decades, they average between 7 to 9% design thrifting year over year when you look at it on a milligrams of silver per watt basis. So they've been doing an excellent job with design thrifting. People often ask me, why don't we just use copper? Of course, that's one of the metals that's being considered. But frankly, copper has been part of the design thrifting process all along as well. As they reduced the silver loadings in the paste, of course, they're backfilling it with other conductive metals, including copper, to help achieve their technical performance needs. So I think the industry has been doing a great job with the design thrifting. The big question is just how much more solar capacity are we going to add year over year? What's that growth rate look like? And again, I think it's a CAGR that's higher than the design thrifting reductions. So that's really the dilemma that the industry is faced with. So if we're at 12%, 13% of the silver going into solar PV today, what if it climbs to 20 or 25% of the total silver supply? I think the silver industry has that to give. I think it can manage that, but I think it could put pressure on pricing with silver climbing higher and higher year over year.
How much does silver currently account for the total cost of a solar module?
I think we're at about 2 cents per watt type range right now, is the way it breaks down. So I think it's a component of the total cost. What's your solar module cost today? I think we're in the range of about 27 cents a watt, with silver being 2 of that. As you know, the polysilicon itself is one of the more expensive components that has enjoyed some pretty significant price rises in the past year and a half. It's the polysilicon more than any other material component that's increased the solar PV cost at the module level.
And how much silver costs in module production may be further reduced?
So it's difficult to gauge. Silver is used for a reason. It's the most conductive metal on the periodic table, followed closely by copper. Those are really the key choices that the industry is working with. So I think the design thrifting is good. What's interesting to me is 2 of the more advanced film structure designs, specifically TOPCon solar cells and silicon heterojunction solar cells, SHJs. Those have 50+% higher loadings per watt than our conventional polycrystalline does today. And so these newer technologies with higher electrical efficiencies do use more silver, and they'll design thrift those as well. In fact, they'll design thrift those at a faster rate than conventional polysilicon. But there's more work to be done, I think, on the newer technologies is where I think they need to focus a lot of the energies.
Do you believe that this increasing demand from the PV industry may lead to some supply issues in the future?
We're sitting on about 16 years worth of known reserves globally at the rate of consumption that silver is being consumed today. So there is a need for additional mining. There's no doubt about it. We need to explore, we need to find those deposits, and we need to exploit those deposits. And frankly, that's not just silver, that includes copper. This includes, all the platinum group metals for the hydrogen economy. It includes rare earth metals. There's a number of critical metals where mining is a concern, and finding the mining investment to drive that development of those mines and that further output is really a challenge today. The battery metals are consuming a lot of the energy, and a lot of the investment dollars are going into battery metals, and we're really going to need it for some of the fundamental metals, including copper and silver. We really need to stay focused on those. Those are always going to be popular in electronics, including solar PV. So that's the challenge, is how to keep the mining keeping pace with the demand. And I might add, the other key discussion is solar PV recycle, which, as you know, very little of our solar PV modules are being recycled today. The majority that's being recycled are cadmium telluride, the cadmium TD, and the flexible SIGs. We need to recycle these first generation solar panels that are now approaching 25 years of age and about to end service. We really need to develop a means to recover the silver from all of the existing panels that are in service today that will go to end of life. That's an important topic that I think the world really needs to push to help bridge any gaps that you potentially can have with the mining, just to pick up our return rates from what's called a low-grade silver recycle.
Our time is up, Matt. Thank you for your 5 minutes.
Thank you so much.